Initially, I was not going to review the chapter for Phantom Seer. I was going to just let the rest run out, because I'm sure those people, that follow Phantom Seer saw that, like, people were saying it was getting canceled, and then I was talking to Vashti Legend from Anime Lately. Go check his channel out. He was telling me that that was apparently a mistranslation, and there's some information saying that was more of the wording in the information talking about maybe like the current arc, like the current bit with Retta and the dollhouse, and then the first enemies of Senju Doji. I don't know. I mean, like, he has, as far as I know, like, he's got some credible sources, but obviously people have been saying that it is getting axed. I don't entirely know. I'm just gonna go with what you was saying, because I mean it makes sense to me. Like, I've seen that before of people taking mistranslations just because of the issues lost in translation, where you end up thinking one thing or the other. And I know that with Japan, sometimes they'll have names for like arcs, and they'll say, I think it's like series or something, just in the way that sometimes kind of translates over, and that's happened before, where people think something's going to end when they were just talking about something that's currently going on in the story. I don't know. I'm just gonna finish it then, regardless. Like, if it is getting axed, and I'll just decide to write it out and do the last 2 chapters. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep going, because I have been enjoying Phantom Seer. Other than like the school doctor bad guy, I already forgot his name, but like, that's the only part I didn't really care for that much, just because that guy was pretty lame. But I have been liking what's going on right now, and the stuff with with Retta, and seeing Iori in this chapter go pretty crazy with his like whole Ongyoki wearing, because I was figuring that the whole thing that Konda did, like where she kind of like merged with her Phantom, not Konda, Kondo. I almost messed that one up, but the way that she was like merged with it, that'd be a thing that probably people with Phantoms in general could do. Just makes sense. I mean, plus from the standpoint of like the series, it'd be cool. I mean, that's just a badass way to go do it. I mean, even in this chapter, we see Iori wearing Ongyoki. He's got like the shadow over part of one of his eyes with the horn. You got the other half of like the Ongyoki face like up in shadows going off his shoulder. He's got this big, massive black arm with a blade. He's holding it like right in the middle. It looks really cool. I mean, the whole thing makes sense of like with Ongyoki, of him not wanting to, he doesn't want to let Ongyoki fully out, because Ongyoki will just kind of like rampage and be a potential live threat to his friends that are currently captured. And during the chapter, when he rescues them, like he swings his arm, like, does some attacks, but that's when these shadows go in and grab his friends, take them from the doll god. After the point of getting them out, just let Ongyoki go off. You should just completely like, all right, let me put these guys in the room. All right, never mind. I'm not gonna restrain Ongyoki, and we're just let him go absolutely ham and just let him rampage. It's unfortunate, because like Retta is clearly a very young girl, but I mean, like, she's kind of crazy, and grouped up with Senju Doji is kind of a threat. And one of the things that like is like kind of actually added to like the idea of like it was ending was the fact that Senju Doji showed up in this chapter. I mean, that's not like it's impossible if it was continuing, but it felt like one of those times where it's like, oh, they're rushing the end, they're gonna have Senju Doji maybe come up and then Iori kill her real early on. Again, I don't know. It's weird right now until we have like an official statement from Shonen Jump or like in the manga. Then I'm just gonna keep going, because assuming they're right and it ends, then it'll be next chapter, I believe. And if not, then it's gonna keep going. So it really is gonna depend on the information we get in the next chapter. Like if the next chapter says like, oh, it's at the climax now, and it'd be unfortunately the end, then well shit. But like I said, until that happens, we're gonna keep going. The Doll God 2 was looking real spooky. I don't really know what it was reminding me of. Like at first I was thinking maybe like that Pokemon Trapinch, but more of the face. But it's got, the big, weird, stringy body. It just looks really odd. But at the same time, obviously, like, it's a big mass of, like, rope cord or something. And just absolutely not a real shape. Like, I really doubt, like, it has a defined form. It just seems like one of those, or just some weird creature like that. The fandoms before it, for the most part, had a pretty set design. This one's very strange in general, but again, I like that. I think this is, I think besides Senju Doji, is this like the highest level Phantom I would assume we've seen? Just because he's got to let full Ongyoki, he's got to pretty much use like the full extent of Ongyoki in order to even fight him. And I mean, in this case, it's not like he's letting him fully out, but he's using him to like the most balanced spot he probably can. And I really liked actually the end of the chapter when he's starting to get kind of consumed by Ongyu, because that was one of the things Senju Doji was commenting on and showed up to see. She wanted to like mock him because of similar to what happened earlier when we saw his flashback, and he didn't have control over it, and that girl ended up dying. So that was just like, oh man, that's kind of shitty. He's starting to get consumed. But like I said, he should have just, like, the second he got his friends out of Senju Doji's, more of like Retta and the dog god. But the second it got away from the Senju Doji crew's side, he should have just let Ongyoki go ham and just go crazy. I did really like that when it seemed like he was getting consumed. You have like all this light coming off of him, and I was thinking, because at the time when I was reading, I was like, oh, is it, it's apparently getting canceled. That sucks. It's going to be rushing to, like, whatever his final form is. Because that happens a lot whenever a series is getting that, like, rush acts. Is the authors will just use, they'll just use whatever, like, later end series form they had planned, put it in there. Just to have it in there. Which, again, doesn't seem to be the case, because it was actually Riku who's using her disintegration barrier to hold off a lot of the shadows. So Iori really just has the big shadow blade and arm, but Riku is keeping a lot of Ongyoki at bay. So I like that general combination of them. And again, Riku so far has been probably the highlight of the series, I would say, overall. Like, I like Kenma, like, he's probably my favorite out of the characters so far, and Yayoi, but Riku, I think, has the best general display, because, I mean, like, the stuff with her character, how she wants to, regardless if she can't, like, have the same level of input as someone like Kenma or Iori when it comes to these battles and missions, she wanted to do everything that she could do, and I always appreciate when characters are doing their best to contribute as much as possible. And even if Riku can't fight, the fact that she's able to still find ways to provide benefit to the team is always a good thing. I'm very happy about, like, her character and where she's gone in the series. So again, I'm really looking forward to the next chapter. The next chapter should really give us the obvious, if it's ending or if it's not. Because if it is ending, one, it will say. But I mean, like, they'll easily have Senju Doji get killed and Senju Doji's present. And, if they're going to end the series, then it's going to be easy for him to kill her off here. And then kind of being like, well, that's it. Because Senju Doji is the only big villain currently stated to exist. Like, we don't know about, like, any other phantoms on her level and whatnot. And obviously Senju Doji's got personal ties to Iori. So it's going to be an interesting next chapter, because again, I've seen a lot about people saying Phantom Seer is getting axed, but apparently, from somebody I know, they were saying that was a mistranslation, so who knows exactly what that's going to kind of lead up to. Regardless, it was a good chapter. I mean, speaking of in the current present, it was a pretty solid chapter. I mean, the designs were nice, art is always as good, and I like where things are going, so we'll see. For the Phantom Seer people that are here, though, I don't know entirely what to tell you about, like, the status of it. We gotta unfortunately wait another week unless they do, like, a post kind of clarifying stuff up. It has been really weird just because some of the stuff that, like, obviously would tie into the potential of getting canceled, stuff like that. They don't advertise Phantom Seer, and it's always in the back. So I don't really know if that's something they just kind of do intentionally, or the theory that people think that the editor-in-chief just doesn't like it. Because, like, I saw some people saying, it was like, oh, it's because it's too horrorish. I'm like, they had Chainsaw Man, of all things, and they have Jujutsu Kaisen. Both very, bloody gore action stuff. So it's like, why can't they have Phantom Seer? Phantom Seer doesn't even have a lot of gore. It's more of just spooky paneling. But anyway, other than that, though, comment below. Thumbs up the video, friendly like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But on that, I appreciate everyone's already subscribed. Thank you all for listening.